Streaming, there we go. Start with a cube, like a primitive to make this. To make this curve shape out of a cube. You could extrude it, yes, that's the thing. I'm a little bit more lazier than that. But good try though. Huh? The gate, that's definitely one way where you select a polygon and make a curve and extrude along a curve. That's definitely one way. Pipe. So let me actually grab that. I don't have my other scene. Where is it? Dun, dun, dun. Let me find it. I think that's it, right? From where I left off. Yeah, that's it. It's a little different than the one I had, but and we'll move this up a little higher. Something like that. And I'll grab this, make this higher. Get that out of the way. All right, so there it is. So we got this little piece here, making sure everything is lined up in the middle of my world. So if I want to zero this out to the middle, I can go up here to the top. So this right here is my absolute transform. So if I have any object that's just kind of out there and I want to zero it out to either the X, Y, or Z and land it back in the origin or land it on the X axis or Z axis, I can use these right here. So since I want it to land on the X, which is this plane right here, I'm just going to go up here to the top and just type in 0 and boom. And again, understand that I put this in all this stuff in a group. That's what I'm controlling. So I took it, grouped it all out, and then I want to do a freeze transformations. Did you guys watch some of those videos on how to make a shelf tool that I showed you guys yesterday? No? Not yet? You probably should, because that's what I have here, is all these tools up here for the shelf. So if you haven't watched it, please do. I'll show you really quickly how to do that. What you do is you make a shelf over here and you say new shelf, and then you name it whatever, you know, I'll just name it Frank. It goes and puts it at the end, and then anything I want to add to it, I'll go to the tool. So if I want to do freeze transformations and make a button out of it, I'll come down to the button right here, right before I click it, Shift and Control at the same time. I'm pressing both down right now, Shift and Control, and then left mouse click on it, and boom. Look at it. There it is. And you can do that with any tool on the interface and drop it on the shelf. So you can make your own modeling toolkit, basically, or shelf tool. Right here. This is the ones I use the most. Right here. Yes. Oh, sorry. There we go. There we go. Shove that right in the corner there. So that's how you make your own shelf tool really quickly. But there's a nice video that goes into a little bit more detail about it. So definitely watch that. All right. So let's start building that piece. I'm going to bring this up just a little bit more. Kind of plant that right in the middle. And then using my modeling toolkit, I'll use the freeze transformations, or again, modify freeze transformations there. Let's start with a simple pipe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the orthographic views right here and kind of find my geo. Let's see which one is going to work. It looks like the front one down here in the bottom corner here. I'm going to hit spacebar over that window. My God, that grid is so distracting. I'm going to come up here to this, what is it, viewport panel. Click on that. And make that grid disappear. I'm going to hit the space bar. Go to create. Polygon primitives. And pipe. There it is. And I'm going to drag it somewhere. I'm going to start from somewhere in the middle here. And drag it out. If it wants to, there it is. It wants to be a booger for me. Are you guys getting feedback or not? I'm not getting any feedback from Maya on this one. It's not giving me any interaction as it's building it. Did you guys get feedback from it when you did it? Yeah, I didn't get anything. So that sucks. Let me try that again. I'll hit the G key. Again, that was the last tool I used. I'm going to start from the perspective and see if I get better feedback from here. I'm going to hold the X key down and snap it to the grid. And then click. Yeah, I'm getting much better feedback from here. Typically, it's supposed to work from the viewport. And then nothing from the thick. Ah. All right. So that's not working. Time to go to history. Click over here. And let's try thickness. Click on the word thickness. Middle mouse click. And drag back and forth. Come on. Wow. This thing does not want to play nice. That's working. Thickness. Let's try 10. Right? Wow. What is going on? Is it working for you guys? Are you getting the little middle? Oh. There. Wow. Talk about a lag. So thickness doesn't show, then you're probably using the wrong one. You're probably using the cylinder, not the pipe. There we go. Finally. Jeez. That was a pain in the butt. I was trying to use that other viewport, so I'm ballparking it right now because Maya wasn't giving me any feedback here. That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to use this as a guide, but I was just having such a problem with the tool that I had to kind of go over here and just get the tool to work. So that's not such a big deal. Since I got the basic shape out, I can still manipulate it to where I want it to be. So it's not that bad, but it's not exactly what I was going for. I'm going to bring this up. And then I'm going to rotate it. So hitting the J key down, rotate, E, J key, rotate that around. Go up. And scale it up. So what I'm doing is I'm scaling it to a point where it starts to connect this little bend here into those boxes that we made at the bottom of the panels. So again, it's just going back and forth until you get something that works. Right? I think that works. It's not supposed to be the greatest thing in the world. All right. Once I've gotten that done, I'm going to, what do you think I'm going to do next? Delete the top part. So delete the polygons I don't want. Now, there's a couple ways of doing that. You can come in here to face mode and select, hold shift, and select that edge loop and delete it from there. But I got another tool to show you. So I'm going to select this polygon, hold shift, double click. It'll select that edge loop. And then control greater than. So I'm pressing control greater on your keyboard, greater than. For some reason, that is not displaying the key of greater than. And I grow my selection. If I hold shift and less than, it grows the selection less. Isn't that pretty cool? Is it working for you guys? Just play with the shift greater and less than. You'll start seeing what the tool's doing. Greater than, less than. Holding that shift key down. Once I do a greater than, shift greater than, I just hit delete. And that was pretty easy. How you guys doing? Okay. All right. So I have a little bit of problem one. This one's just not lining up. So I'm just going to go to vertex mode, select that vertex, drag it down. Because this is inside the model. So it's not that big of a deal. The other thing, too, is this is going to be also a subdivision surface. So we're subdividing this. So we're going to press 3 and see how that looks. You can see, look at the size difference on that thing. I'm pressing 3. 1 and 3. I'm gonna bring this up just a little bit more. I don't want to curve so much. There we go. I'm gonna get rid of this top polygon here. There we go. I'm also going in here and selecting some vertexes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press 4. So I'm going to be in object mode. Press 4 on your keyboard to go wireframe mode. And I want to move this a little bit so it doesn't pop through. You can see it's kind of popping through here. So I'm kind of manipulating. If it looks good on yours, you don't have to do this. I'm just showing you some more tricks that you can do to manipulate this. So vertex. Oh, come on. Oh, camera-based selection's turned on because these verts are actually through the body here. So if I double-click on the Move tool, come down to Common Selection Options, camera-based selection, turn that off, and now when I go like this, it should select them all, but you don't see them. And there you go. Now you can go through the geometry and kind of move that in so we don't see it popping through. Come over here, select that, move that in just like that. So sometimes you got to go into wireframe mode to manipulate stuff. It just kind of happens. Can't avoid it. And then you hit 5 and you kind of see the results from it. That looks pretty good. All right, this is starting to move a little bit, so I'll make sure that's underneath. There we go. We'll bring this up a little bit more. So we're going to connect this piece to this piece down here. How do you think we're going to do that? Extrude from the bottom here. We're just going to select that face. And it's probably better to do it in raw or base mode. So typically I go back and forth, but most of the time you want to edit in the base mode. When you get a little bit more experience, then you can kind of play in the smooth mode a little bit more. But for you guys, this is probably the mode that you want to be in. Shift, extrude. I'm going to extrude all the way down. It's not perfect yet. That's fine. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to subdivisions here, middle mouse click, and just add a couple more divisions. Just like that. So I'm adding 4.
What should we do if we don't have a face pointing directly down?
Let's see here. Huh? You could probably bevel it again. So you could go, if I undo that, select that, shift right click and do a bevel edge, and maybe along the one that's facing down, and then you'll get a polygon. Good catch. I also want to make sure that this one right here, there's a flat one here. If not, you might have to kind of re-rotate. Or if you got one, maybe you got one of these. Maybe something happened like this where somehow you got like that. Like what he just said. Bevel. And then boom, there it is. Oh, I got to fix that. That came out bad. Well, I'm not going to worry about it now. I'm already in it. All right. And then extrude. Thickness. About what? 4, did I say? That's fine. Oh. Hang on. There we go. What are we doing? Because I'm using this extrusion under edit mesh face extrusion, or I'm getting it from shift right click extrude face. This is the same tool. And then drag out the little wire and say extrude face. And then I'll bring that down. Or you can do thickness, and then I'll add a couple subdivisions to that. Once I've done that, I can kind of reshape them. So I can go to edge mode, double click on that edge, go to the scale tool, and just kind of reshape it to fit into that spool. And I'm going to move the spool a little bit more to get it to fit. But something like that. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just something to get the general idea. And then press 3 to check it. I'm going to also, if you notice, because there's a polygon here at the bottom, see how smooth it looks? Because of that polygon. If you want this to be sharper, and we're never going to see this inside anyway, if I take this and go to face mode and delete it, look how hard edge that becomes without adding any extra edge loops to it. And then I'll bring this over and fit that inside. You might have to play with your sizing a little bit to get it, but that's the general idea. Right? And then you can come in here, you can get a little fancy if you want. Select the face, hold shift and select this edge loop coming through and just do another extrude. And so something like that with a little bit of an offset, like that. See how that looks. You know, just add some extra detail here. There we go. Add an extra subdivision there. See now, I'm playing with this tool a little bit in subdivision mode to see what it's doing. But, you know, always double check it here. You're always bouncing between the two. Don't stick to one the whole time because that's going to lead you into trouble. So that's all I did. So I added that extra edge loop so it holds that shape. Just like that whole conversation that we had yesterday with making that little spool, adding extra edge loops to hold corners better. And then once I've done that, all I'm going to do is I'm going to select this polygon up here and extrude up into there. Just add a few subdivisions there. Once I've done that, I'll go to edge mode, double click, maybe go to the move, and maybe add a little bit of a bend to that by selecting the edge loops. And then 3 to test it. Right? So when I built this, what did I start with? A pipe. So the idea here, what I'm trying to show you here, look at your object, look at the pieces of the object. What primitive best mimics that object? Hack off what you don't need, and then manipulate from there. That's what you can take from this. You can't extrude a face? All right.